Earth as a singular planet. In fact, it is anything but. For this is a story not of a universe, but a multiverse, where universes and planets, such as Earth, were replicated and mirrored across a vibrating, infinite plane. Some barely different from the next. Others drastically so.
This is DC On Screen. Every week, Dave and Jason talk about the multiverse of DC properties on film and television. But be warned, if it's been officially released, you can expect they'll spoil it.
Welcome into DC On Screen episode 465. I'm your host, David C. Robertson. This is my co-host, Jason Goss.
Hello.
And today we are going to be covering, or reviewing, I should say, Batman Gotham by Gaslight, the animated adaptation of the Brian Augustyn and Mike Mignola graphic novel, which actually winds up integrating slightly some of Brian Augustyn's Batman Master of the Future, a little bit, but not much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's not a whole lot of either of these things in this adaptation.
No. There are allusions to a lot of it, and some thematic sinews that were taken, but otherwise, like, you weren't going to get a faithful adaptation from this, and if you were really hoping for it, I'm sorry. That didn't happen.
Yeah. But, you know, I really liked what we got.
I did like what we got, but you just have to be okay with it not being part of the, you got to take it for what it's worth.
Yeah. And, I do want to be transparent and say right up front before we get into this, we have recorded this or some version of this before, but with Scott of the Squadcast. Mm-hmm. We had some technical difficulties. There was a bit of a snafu with some of the recording, and that
all
version
was lost.
Just that version isn't a thing anymore.
Nope.
So, and Scott's got a sick young one, and couldn't make it tonight.
Yeah. But
we are trying to get something else going with Scott and Tim, and it was a fun conversation, and I hate that you guys can't hear it.
Yeah. We'll be able to hook up with him again in the future, though.
Absolutely.
Like short-term future, I'm willing to say. Yeah,
I certainly hope so. Anyway, moving on. So I really liked that they actually went a little further, like a lot further. They fleshed this thing out. They fleshed it out with Batman characters. Like when you go back and you read the original graphic novel, which I did right before watching,
mm-hmm.
There's almost no one in that graphic novel that is like of the Batman canon, except for Bruce and Alfred and Gordon.
Yeah.
And here we have, Ivy the Plant Lady, we have Dickie, Jason, and Little Tim. We have, Big Bill Duff and his amiable cock rubbings.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he said, right?
No, cock robins.
Cock robins.
Yeah.
I heard cock rubbins.
Well, you have that tendency.
What?
Mr.
We had Leslie Tompkins.
Tibia Titty.
Yeah, Tibia Titty.
Mm-hmm.
We had Leslie Tompkins as a nun, Hugo Strange in charge of Arkham, and Hugo does believe that people can withstand up to 35 miles an hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had Chief Bullock, who was basically Chief O'Hara.
Yes, which was the funniest part to me.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Still had Harvey Dent.
We did have Harvey Dent. We had
a huge Selena Kyle presence.
Yeah. We had a huge Selena Kyle presence, and I really liked that. And Jordan Valdez actually sent us a pretty lengthy voicemail, and I think I'm going to, because we've already kind of spent a lot of time on this episode, I'm going to wait until the next news episode to put that voicemail. It's a very long voicemail. But thank you, Jordan. But yeah, he's a big cat bat shipper, so he was very pleased with that.
He's enjoying the comics recently, then?
Oh, yeah. And, I think I'm probably a cat bat shipper most of the time myself.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to pick a romantic ending to him, yeah, they make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, like, Talia seems like a good first wife type of situation.
Yeah, but, like, I could see them getting divorced. But, like, him and Selena, I could see them kind of... I could see those two cats making it.
Well, the one cat and the one bat, but yeah.
I mean, yeah. If you want to get technical, sure.
Sure. Always.
Still, I I just never think about it until someone brings it up. I'm like, oh, that would be fine. That would be just fine. Or they tell a really good story, which the books are telling right now. It's kind of like I kind of wish I was.
Yeah.
Kind of wish I had original copies of all those, but I don't.
Yeah. But yeah, we have Cyrus Gold up in the prison. Mm-hmm. We have Tara Strong as Marlene as opposed to Harleen. Sort of a
very blatant homage.
Yeah, I would even say something of a red herring in the movie. We will be getting spoilery, by the way. Anthony Stewart Head as Alfred. That was great.
That was nice. And I didn't know it before, and then it was explained to me afterward, and I thought, oh, he did fine.
Yeah. So, Scott Patterson.
By the way, I think he pronounces it Heed. I don't know why. Is that true?
Oh, maybe so. Maybe he does. I mean, Reed, Heed. I guess I could see it. Yeah.
I thought I heard someone say that at some point. Feel free to correct me. Anyone, ever.
Yeah,
for any reason.
Sure. I'll just say Giles. How about that?
Giles. Giles did... It is really pretty close to the Rupert character. Like, crazy youth goes into some sort of mentorship role in his more aged, wizened years.
Mm-hmm. Now I enjoy the aesthetic of steampunk. I liked what they did with it here. I liked the idea of seeing all of these people back in that time frame. I think they actually honestly they made a better story. Like, I enjoyed this more than the book.
I'm not sure I enjoyed it more than the book.
I think I did.
But I'm not willing to take anything away from either one. I enjoyed the book.
That's fair.
I mean,
I like the book.
The, Gotham by Gaslight proper versus the future thing. Future thing was a little, what are we doing here? But
yeah, I don't care for Master of the Future really at all. Yeah.
I mean, it was all right, but not. I don't think it's as good as either of the properties that this is,
right,
ostensibly representing.
But I feel like this movie could very well jump off. Like, we had a red herring in Harvey Dent.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They did very much like he was very much Two-Face. Like, he's Bruce's best friend, and all of a sudden he's the prosecutor.
Yeah, they even mentioned Jekyll and Hyde kind of stuff. Yeah,
absolutely. He's a different man when he drinks.
Mm-hmm. Kind of a Jekyll and
Real
Hyde
Jekyll
situation.
and Hyde.
Yeah. And then he is a proper dick.
Mm-hmm. And I felt like they kind of like because the book went out of their way to show like, hey, there's this guy that like paralyzed his own face and killed his family, and he is clearly the Joker.
Yeah.
The movie did not do that. The movie went out of their way to avoid that. Just eschewed the entire scene between Bruce and Gordon in the inspector's office. Mm-hmm. Maybe because Gordon isn't an inspector in this version. He is the commissioner.
They would have used different terms for this side of the pond.
Mm-hmm. And though I do miss Inspector Gordon, I feel like that I don't know. There was something about that I liked.
Mm-hmm.
Scott Patterson, though, the guy that played Commissioner Gordon, I wasn't digging him.
I didn't really have any problem. And it wasn't just him. I just don't think there was a single. I don't think there was any voice acting in this that I wasn't a fan of.
I think I didn't like Gordon. That was it. I felt like he didn't sync up with his character. He didn't sound like what I'm seeing. I didn't believe anything he said, even when he was revealed as Jack. I don't know why.
I mean, sometimes it just falls flat for. There's a reason it's subjective, but I didn't have any kind of reaction like that.
No.
Now, I was really happy to hear that. What's her name from Dexter had fooled me.
Oh yeah, Selena.
Yeah, she slipped right by me. Did not know she had gotten into voice acting.
Dude, you know what? She actually sounded like the animated series.
She really did. Like I didn't even question it.
Similar.
Like, I did not realize that she was capable of this, and now I've always wished well upon her. I enjoyed her in Dexter, but now I kind of want her to have a voice acting career. I think I would enjoy it. Hope I see her again in the future, or hear her again in the future.
Yeah, but like her Adrienne Barbeau was on point, dude. I don't know if she meant to do that, but she sounded like Adrienne Barbeau.
That was
for
solid.
Sure.
Yeah.
Little sultry. What's more, and I don't know the name. Hell, she might have been the one. The woman that did Ivy the Plant Lady, for the amount of time she was actually on the screen, sounded like Diane Pershing. Like, she sounded like the animated series Ivy as well. to me. But I don't believe she's done it in a really long time. Let's see. Who did Ivy?
Why don't you look that up while I explain my problems with Ivy?
Sure. Why don't you do that?
I have two questions. One, like I realized this was a rated R version. And I wondered why until I met Ivy. And first of all, it's an extremely like unnecessarily showy version of Ivy. Like I don't like. This is part of the problem with Bruce Timm right now that I have. But I'll get to that in a second. The other thing was like when I really realized like, oh, that's where they got their R rating. Was like, did you notice when Ivy gets cut that there's like a gurgling sound that I did not know you could put in animated anything? There was some sort of a weird gurgle. Actually, it was Carrie Werrer who also did Barbara Gordon. Oh, fair enough.
So good job, Carrie. I mean, you sounded like Diane Pershing for a minute.
You fit right in. No, the gurgling sound was. I honestly, I've never seen that with anything that was animated before, or heard that with anything that was animated before. I did not know you could do, like as somebody was dying.
Oh, I mean, you can. They did it in Batman the Animated Series. That's why I wouldn't think that was necessarily an R-rated thing.
It's not necessarily, but like I remember hearing it like when Clayface is having,
that was exactly what I was thinking of. Them, like pouring that shit down Clayface's throat, Matt Hagen's throat.
But like for me, that's different, and I could see how standards and practices would be like, well, you're pouring something down a guy's throat. I get that, but like when it's like
him,
when you're like stabbing someone so much that you start hearing like blood, like trespass into the tracheal area, like I just didn't. Ooh, that was rough. It actually, like, I was a little impressed. Minor point. My big point, and I hate the petitions as much as we do, if I could start a petition right now, it would be, please take Bruce Timm away from all animated productions until he gets some help. Because he just keeps trying to sexualize these characters in a way that is super creepy.
It is, okay. If they did the animation not like Bruce Timm, and it was more adult-looking animation, I can understand it more, and I appreciated what they were going for with the cat calls and everything, and even though she's dancing, you see, like, they even draw, like, the little line under her eye, like, she's just tired of this shit. She hates this. She's like, miserable, and I was okay with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get the scene they're going for. What keeps bothering me is that the scene is elongated in a way.
Yeah, I didn't need the 4 minutes of watching those leaves almost fall off of her boob.
It felt like 4 frickin' minutes. Like, there's Ivy, there's Selena later doing the musical number, which also I want to pitch in. I don't need any more musical numbers.
I was fine with the musical number. I liked the musical number. I felt like it fit in with the time. I didn't feel like it was too va-va-voom or anything. It was just like ladies doing the can-can like they did back then.
It literally didn't fit into the time. This was before the time of the can-can. Like...
Yeah, but it was sort of like mockery of the can-can. It was like mockery of the can-can, you know what I mean?
It was a Harlequin show, and that's fine. Or a burlesque show, but
Yeah, it was a burlesque show. But, yeah, I was fine with that, though. Like, she did this on her own. She owned this shit. This is her show. I was all down with that. I'm good with
all that. It's just the amount of time. Because what really creeps me out is the fact that, like, for the most part, you send animation to another studio to have the frames filled in.
Uh-huh.
Which means that Bruce Timm, on a number of occasions now, has sent in, like, elongated versions of a scene where he had this character posing, like, in this version, it's like this character dancing this way with leaves slightly over this area.
Yeah.
And then I want you to do that for 20 seconds. And then I want you to do this one with the leaves over here now. And it's a close-up of this area. And I want you to do that for 10 seconds. And then we'll cut back to this shot for 5. Like, he's storyboarding this.
I'm not sure he's storyboarding it.
It keeps being his name attached in a way that makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, but his name is attached to the animated series, and, Deanie and Tim are, like, sitting there on the commentaries talking about, like, oh, this guy did this. Oh, Shane Glines did this storyboard. Oh, this is... whoever, like, just, it's not necessarily just him, he is
it's maybe not him actually drawing the storyboard. I'm sure there's a storyboard artist on this. That's not my point. Right. The point is, the correlation is Bruce Timm and these characters getting a little more nude, frankly.
Yeah.
And creepily like Harley and Batman was just weird. Anyway.
I mean, he is listed as an executive producer, along with Sam Register and Michael Uslan and Benjamin Melnicker, and the line producer though was Amy McKenna.
Well, that doesn't.
It was
Doesn't
you
necessarily mean anything. Like line production
No,
has more
it
to do
doesn't.
with style and production design, not necessarily.
But neither
like,
does Bruce Timm, except for what we've seen coming from him before, and knowing that he's sort of a known misogynist.
That's the thing. That's why I keep thinking. Let's take him away for a second and get this sorted.
Yeah. I don't want to like necessarily point a finger. I mean, there are more than several storyboard artists and storyboard supervisors, and none of them are Bruce Timm. I'm looking at them.
I know.
I'm just pointing that out.
I know.
I just don't want to be.
I'm sure he's not the guy penciling it anymore.
Yeah, I just don't want to be unnecessarily finger wagging. I think he's moved beyond the storyboard shit.
Yeah, it's not that. It's the technical part of whether he's storyboarder or not. Like, you get the idea of what I'm saying. And
absolutely, and it is too much. I'm kind of tired of the weird sexualization of these characters in the Bruce Timm style or any real animated style like this. Like, it's weird to me.
It is, and
they keep pushing it down our throat.
Yeah, it's not even that. Like, it's not like I want to live in a world where the BTAS style universe just has no adult. Like, I don't want to live with like a bunch of Ken dolls. You know, it's not that.
Right.
It's that we don't need to spend that much screen time literally focusing on, like, what are you telling me right now other than this character's drawn sexily? Like, it just feels like weird commissioned fanfic. I don't.
In a way, yeah. Which I feel like the R rating was unnecessary on this story. I honestly think it was. Like,
I still think with the violence, maybe.
I mean, we didn't need the Tarantino blood spurts.
I think that may have been worth it.
Like,
yeah, you could have told this story in PG-13. No doubt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Short of the fact that, like, he backs into fire. But even then, it's just a bad scream, and it's not like you show his skin, blistering or anything.
If that was the reason it was rated R...
That was a silly reason.
If that was the reason it was rated R, I'd be down with it.
I don't think that was the reason. I think you could have told that in a PG-13 story. Like,
that's great.
I think a lot of the reason that it's rated R as opposed to PG-13, aside from all we've talked about, has to do with the fact that apparently the main breakthrough in, like, the villain of this story, which, spoilers, is going to be James. The main breakthrough is that he was, like, a war doctor who noticed that syphilis is a kind of a bitch.
Oh my gosh. I just had a cool idea. What if they wind up doing, like,
I'm scared
a couple of sequels?
Because of what I was talking about when you said that. Go ahead.
What if they do, like, a couple of sequels? Because I kind of feel like they're setting it up for maybe a possible sequel. Which, of course, it'll have to do, I feel like they could if they wanted to, and if they did, like, Dark Knight Returns style Gotham by Gaslight, and, like, because they've already set up the genetic profile. We know that they have children, James and Barbara. James Gordon Jr., dude.
That was something that occurred to me during the film, was like, this feels like more of a James Jr. kind of thing. I totally get that.
Yeah.
I totally get that. But I would seriously bet you $20 right now that there's never going to be a sequel to this film.
There probably won't be, no. I want there to be, because I enjoyed it that much.
Yeah.
Like, even with my problems. And by the way, for all the crap I give Patterson on his Gordon, that death scream when he walked into that fire was good. Haunting.
Yeah.
That was haunting. He screamed the hell out of that.
Yeah.
Like, he was, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of made you think someone took a blowtorch and just put it to his forearm for a second. Like, it was bad. Oh. It was bad.
Oh, man. Anyway.
I really think a lot of the R rating had to do with the fact that, like, even if you read this script, you had to look at, like, James Gordon's speech while he's pretty much stalking Selena.
Yeah.
That is not a 13-year-old's... I don't know how much of that needs to be presented to youths in general. There's a lot you have to know before you hear that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that alone, and the fact that the whole premise of the movie turns on the fact that he, like, developed this extraordinarily violent misogynist take on the world after being a war doctor that saw some things that I like. And even then, like, the Stockholm syndrome wife, like, I could kind of see why that would maybe be why they bumped it to R. And then if that's the case, throw in a blood spurt. Who cares? We already are. Just throw in a gurgle sound. Who cares?
Yeah, I can see that. I loved Sister Leslie. I loved it.
Fantastic. Certified badass.
I love it. When she's in the graveyard, you know? Mm-hmm. Ye old kirkyard, you know? Mm-hmm. and the murderer, Jack, comes up behind her. This is it then. I won't beg, and I won't go hysterical. I won't give you what you want.
I won't give you the satisfaction.
Yeah, I won't give you the satisfaction. Know this, I forgive you. That's great.
Oh,
that was great.
How did Oliver put it recently? As last words go, those were pretty good.
I'm like a week behind on Arrow at least.
No, that was Bad Oliver from the crossover. That was the Führer, I think.
That
was close to him.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
That was when Felicity was like, "You'll have to go through me" and all that.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry.
He has that moment of like respect for her. It was like, damn, that's a strong person. I'm gonna kill her anyway, but as last words go, those are pretty good.
Yeah. I loved Alfred asking Bruce, "Are you testing your fingerprints theory again? You know they'll never use that sort of thing as evidence." That was great.
Fantastic.
I do sort of feel like there was a real disconnect, and I've only seen the movie once, but I feel like the Gordon reveal came out of nowhere a little bit. Like, I didn't feel like they really led up to it. And this was something Scott had said as well in his previous, on our previous version of this.
This was maybe Scott's biggest problem with the movie.
It was. Yeah, I believe so.
And I have to agree with him. It's not that I didn't see it coming, but I saw it coming for reasons that I think aren't supposed to be the thing you notice. Like, James Gordon was the only other individual, the way they drew them, that could possibly have fit the bill of the person that was supposed to be Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, they did try to, I felt like they tried to, make it out like it was Bullock maybe for just a minute, and then they, moved on from that and tried to give us some other red herrings. Like, Dent was the biggest one. But it really
But they rolled out Dent really early on. I mean, well, halfway through the film, he's having that wonderful conversation with Selena, which, by the way, was amazing. Everything about, you've been pouring your drinks into potted plants the whole night, and him studying her, and I know you love mysteries, and that was a gorgeous conversation.
Yeah.
But that ruled out Dent pretty early. We didn't have a lot of suspects, and the whole time I'm thinking, yeah, that's the only guy big enough to fit this bill. Mm-hmm. And then as the movie progresses, you're kind of thinking well, are they just going to throw in, Solomon Grundy or some crap, or is it going to be somebody we've already been introduced to? And the overwhelming odds are yeah, it's James Gordon. It's somebody we've already seen.
Yeah. Yeah. It was funny that they brought in the World's Fair stuff and the Zeppelins from Master of the Future.
They did. Like I said, it alluded to a few things from the other one.
Yeah.
That's nice, but that actually is why I'm willing to bet you $20 instead of $10 that they're never going to do this again.
Yeah. What was it? What was it you said before? You said they grabbed the 3 scenes out of Master of the Future that was good,
no,
3 general ideas from it.
I think I said it's like somebody read Masters of the Future? I forget the title.
Master of the Future.
It's like someone who read that, but the whole time their mind was checked out, and they put it down and was like, okay, here's the 3 images I actually remember.
There was a Zeppelin.
There was a blimp.
There was a cage fight.
Kind of a Fight Club situation.
And there was a World's Fair.
And I think the World's Fair was involved. Maybe a Ferris wheel. Can we involve those somehow? Yeah, okay.
That's what I remember from Master of the Future.
It's that and a rapier. That's all I've got.
Yeah, they had moved Gordon up to commissioner from inspector, and they had made Tolliver moved him from commissioner to mayor, and they just made them mayor and commissioner in this version.
Okay, so that's from there too. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yep. Tolliver didn't play nearly the role. What the original killer from the book, spoilers for the book, Jacob, Bruce's uncle Jacob, he was not the killer, but he was still Bruce's attorney. They didn't name him, but he was there. You could see, he's sitting beside Bruce.
I missed
that. That was interesting. Yeah.
That explains a lot about why he went to jail so quickly. I'd forgotten that detail. And it's been probably 6 months since I read that one in particular, and I kind of I I think I really liked the prison scenes from the book more. If I had to pick a thing that I liked more outright about the book, it's that. Like, I liked him...
Oh, yeah, where he's got, like, the entire, like, wall full of, like, theories
and like,
stuff.
shouting at himself, like, nothing. Yeah, like, I like that. Like, that was a cool...
Yeah.
Losing it a little bit on the inside thing. As opposed to, like, a series of stick figures that they've apparently come across that indicate words.
And some sort of secret code for Alfred, yeah.
Yeah. Man, there's a lot about that. Can I run through like a couple of the technical difficulties for me watching this one really quickly?
Sure.
All right. So I understand that it's hard to get out of prison in general, and that it was probably easier a while back. But like stealing somebody's suit and running out and still being the most famous man in the city with no facial like nothing on your face that isn't like no disguise, and just like yelling the word Donnybrook, which obviously delights me because when do you hear that?
Yeah.
And getting a couple of people off there, like I don't feel like that's enough, but whatever. It was still a good opportunity to use the fight scene, and it was still kind of a nice like, oh, I like Bruce. He's got some balls. Great. Really quickly, 4 technical problems. 1, Selena and Bruce in the cab. He did not look like he was in any shape to practice. He
had one cut on his shoulder.
He had a bullet wound on his shoulder.
All right, well, a man of his physical prowess, learns to tough it out.
Fair enough. Fair enough. He made it through the entire fight, but he also he literally made it through a Zeppelin landing in the middle of the city. Okay, fine. I'm also still worried about where he found bandages the next morning and wrapped himself so well, but that's enough. You know what? I don't care. Don't care. Being picky.
I mean, hey, that could be like Selena goes down to the little drug tavern and says,
"Oh, she was clearly passed out."
She
was clearly passed out.
Or maybe they went the night before.
I'll give you that.
Maybe she has it in maybe she just has it. She seems like the type to get in trouble. Maybe she just had him on hand.
See, for that reason, I liked the idea that she was obviously a vigilante. She's shown that during the film. She went undercover and tried to take this guy on herself, and okay, I'm okay with the fact that she has first aid available.
Yeah, that's probably right. She because of the fight she had earlier, she probably had the bandages from then.
Fine. A bunch of cops firing at a ball of hydrogen. No.
They seem pretty stupid.
Don't do that.
They seem pretty stupid.
Can I suggest you don't do that?
Well, yeah, you can, but they already did it.
Just saying.
Because it was the heat of the moment, and they were like, fire on them!
Yeah, I know. Later...
I'm down with that.
Well, alright, let's go to Prison Break. The thing that will haunt me the most about this movie... You know what I'm going to say.
I do, yeah.
Why would there be a bridge over what appears to be a useless silo? That for some reason has 2 steel cages above it. With levers that if you press them hard enough will just drop those cages right through the bridge.
I don't know why the bridge wasn't more sturdy.
Why were there cages above it?
Look, man, it's Hugo Strange. He does weird shit to weird people. Or I guess you should say strange stuff to people.
My appreciation of your pun aside.
Right.
That's some weird shit.
I mean, sure, absolutely. In the main courtyard or whatever, the main quad, there was it was just a cylindrical structure with cages, and I'm assuming some of these people are too dangerous to take out with handcuffs. You just pull up those cages and maneuver them over, and you stick it up to the door, and the bad guy gets into the cage and lowered down to the pit with the lobotomized lunatics. Who are zombies if you put a real person down there.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Because they'll just rip you in half.
Instead of just drooling into a puddle on the floor.
I still maintain that both are possible. I would edge my bets toward drooling on the floor because lobotomies are kind of a bitch. But that takes away your executive functioning, which is part of the prefrontal cortex.
Yeah.
So you may be more susceptible to kind of groupthink situations. Everyone starts yelling, I don't know this guy, I'm going to grab him. Oh my god, there's a lot of red.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. And, having those cages, keeps down on a lot of violence, keeps down on a lot of less than amiable cock rubbings.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a fine thing.
Yeah, except when you put them above a bridge that you clearly need.
Well,
that would take a lot of time and money to reconstruct. The biggest problem is that the lever, apparently, if you press it too far, just crashes through the bridge. That's my big problem, is the engineering issue here.
Yeah, I understand.
If you drop the lever all the way to its bottom and all it did was lower it into the bridge, ready for someone to walk out, I'd be like, that is well designed.
Yeah.
Don't know why they'd use it, but man, good job. All right, I have two more things. One, I think you too looked at that pit of crazy people in the middle of the asylum and thought, that looks like something that I have fought in Arkham Asylum, the game.
I did not think of that, but I'm pretty sure that was. You played more than I did.
Well, but
I remember
we played that game together. We would just pass it back and forth, but I was a little better at it, so I would get us a little further into the story faster.
Yeah.
So yeah, I brained a few lunatics in my time.
Yeah.
And that whole scene was like, oh god, this would be like I'm about to face the bad guy, and I have to get through this pit before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was already kind of muscle memory thinking of what moves I might use on these people. Okay, all right, I'm gonna go in with a flare. Oh no, I'm gonna go in with I'm gonna go in with the triple batarangs, create a space for myself, and then we're gonna combo this shit. I had a plan.
Mm-hmm.
All right, my other concern.
Okay.
And I think I'm done with the technical concerns after this. That bat chopper.
Bat chopper?
Mm-hmm.
The motorcycle? The steam motorcycle? Yeah. I liked it. I like the steam powered grappling hook. I like the steam powered motorcycle. I felt like it was steampunk, and I dug it, and I want more. Please do a sequel, please. Please.
They were both steampunk, and they looked aesthetically, I get it. And I even liked the fact that the grappling hook has its limitations. It's just a string on a steel ring. So it snaps on him when he's trying to get off the Ferris wheel. I get that. I like that.
But when
when
he pulled his little thing off and the little steam came out, that is totally a steampunk grappling hook. That was awesome.
Super steampunk. The only thing that bothered me was I think I've seen the model of motorcycle that thing was based on, and that thing went 10 miles an hour.
But it's Batman.
Had a top speed of 10. I'm willing to assume that it's Batman, so he could theoretically get to a speed where his cape wasn't trying to fall under the back wheel.
Right.
But
yeah, I don't know.
That motorcycle, the version of it that I've seen that looked extraordinarily like that, puttered. It puttered along. It was if you had a primitive skateboard, you were just icing this guy. On your left. On your left.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm good. I don't care. I think it was awesome.
Yeah, that bothered me for reasons that I'm not even qualified to be bothered by. I know nothing of the technology. I just swear I've seen that bike before, and I know I read that placard correctly because I was in a museum and I saw it.
Yeah. Dude, okay. Can I just go back and mention I loved the Robins. I loved that Jason had his classic hair colors, little blondish red hair color.
I know. As I mentioned previously, though, I hate that when you do Jason correctly, it also means making a Jason, such as myself, a redheaded stepchild. And kind of an asshole. Yeah. But I accept our fate.
Well, Jason is always an asshole.
I accept our fate.
Comics.
I understand. I can deal with it.
I loved that they were worried about about the Batman or about the Bat creature after what happened to Johnny Gobbs, because that's what the criminals in Batman '89 were worried about.
Right.
That one guy was like, especially after what happened to Johnny Gobbs.
Didn't catch that at all, but I was happy to hear about it later. Yep.
That's phenomenal.
That was solid.
It's not often you get an '89 reference. I don't know. It's just every once in a while I just love to hear one.
And it was nice how they kind of portrayed those kids. Where Dickie's kind of let's be responsible, and then Jason's like, fuck it all, I want to do things, and then there's Tim being I just care about people.
I'm hungry and he feeds us. Can we do this?
It was a little on the nose, maybe, but it was still a really, like, I thought, poignant portrayal. And then Dickie later, like at the end of the film, saying, like, let's build something better. That was nice. Just damn nice.
Yep. It was all well and good. Like, most of it was very good. I don't know, man. You have anything else?
Let me look through some notes.
I would say if, don't show. I wouldn't show this to your kids.
No, not necessarily a movie for children. Again, I think that conversation isn't something they're prepared to handle generally.
Yeah.
I say children generally. I don't know. I don't know the ages of people or their maturity levels. So,
me personally, I was watching stuff around. I was watching stuff like this around 12 to 14, somewhere around there. So
yeah, and I was too, and I could understand the dialogue that was in front of me for the most part at the time. But I like the level of material that's in there and what you need to understand to contextualize it. I kind of get that this isn't like a kids movie.
No, it's
that
not
makes
a kids
sense
movie.
To me.
But I think it is worth the watch for sure. I think it's a good one.
Oh, absolutely. I only had, I think just the one more little shout out to the Sherlock Holmes reference.
Oh yeah. What you got?
Apparently it's Bruce's mentor. I'm paraphrasing, but like when you remove the impossible, all you have left is the truth, kind of thing. Some version of parsimony.
Yeah. All right.
It was a neat take.
Didn't Scott say that the Robins, the way they were presented, were a reference to something in Sherlock Holmes?
Oh God, what was it? Oh,
it has been like 20 years since I read any Sherlock Holmes.
Me too. Yes.
Like I had one of those big bound editions of all the stuff, but of all the stories, but I haven't read that in forever.
Oh, he was right too. It made a really good reference that. Oh God, I don't know. He's gonna have to get back to us and help us on that one.
Yeah,
I don't know, but it does correlate very well.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, you have anything else, man?
Not that I can remember, which means probably not.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for listening. If you'd like, you can leave us a review on Facebook or iTunes. It really does help. We will be back with a news episode, not this week, but we will be coming back. You'll probably be hearing from us on the 6th of February. I believe we'll have a new episode up. And, honestly, there's just not a whole lot of news this week, but
it was pretty light.
We're aware of the news that's out there.
Mm-hmm.
If you'd like to leave us some stuff, leave us some feedback or ask us questions or whatever, we'll get back to you, read you on the show. We are DC On Screen. You can find us at dconscreen.com. Every episode we've ever done, 465 episodes, plus crossovers. We do post crossovers on the website. That's one of the big advantages of going to the website is that you can actually just in a pretty chronological order find out what we've done.
Damn close.
Yeah. So anyway, we tweet. The show tweets at DC On Screen. I tweet at David C. Robertson. And gosh, I just feel so bad if you don't listen to the Suicide Squad cast, you should go and check them out. Suicide Squad cast. Just go and check those guys out. They're really good. I feel so bad about not being able to do the Scott stuff.
Oh, yeah, you shouldn't feel bad. That one's on me.
I shouldn't?
Yeah.
Well, as just far as just in general, I feel bad that didn't happen. Anyway.
By the way, I remembered one more point.
Okay.
Bonus point? We'll call it a bonus point.
Sure.
I still really liked the new version of the bat signal.
Yeah, like the blood on the
like as Scott pointed out, that's a lot of blood. But then again,
it is a lot of blood.
Syringes, around the time that this is supposedly happening, were basically just skin piercers. They weren't. They weren't getting in between cells, man. They were just like, blah. It's a very technical explanation, I understand. But I don't know how that much blood could have been done. Maybe he got her in the jugular. I don't know. But I like the idea of like the original bat signal being drawn in blood for help me. Help me bat.
Yeah.
It was neat. I like that. right,
guys.
I'm done with bonus points.
Until next time, keep some DC on your screen. Our opening narration was from Dan Jurgens' The History of the DC Universe, Part 3 of 10, as featured in DC 52, Week 4. It was performed by me, David C. Robertson. Intro music by Jason Goss and Michael Shackelford. Michael's band, Future Elevators, could be found on Spotify or future-elevators.com. Our introduction was performed by Effie Ophelders of the fantastic podcast Stealing the Remote, which lives on SoundCloud. It can also be found on iTunes and Stitcher. We are proudly in partnership with TV Time, TV show calendar and social media site that lets you keep track of what you're watching, what your friends are watching, and where you all left off. DC On Screen is a maladjusted production. Visit maladjusted.tv for more from me and Jason, including sketch comedy, an improvised web series, vlogs, parodies, and more.